Attention! Everything you're going to see in this video is just meant to make you laugh. So whether you're rich or poor, don't take offense, as these are just jokes that may or may not be true. So if you're easily offended by things, I suggest you don't watch this video. Thank you! What's the difference between the rich and the poor? Those who think the difference is just in the name are mistaken, because the differences start from the cradle. The rich mother, for example. The boy is running, then suddenly falls to the ground.
Oh my God. Please, Aristotle. Doctor House, take this boy and immediately take him to the 3rd floor infirmary. Ah, these children.
Now it's the poor one's turn. The boy runs and falls before screaming. She screams first instead.
Wow.
And she still asks,
Did you fall?
No, Mom.
Did it hurt?
No, Mom, no, Mom.
the answer is irrelevant since she'll pick up the boy, but not to address his injury. Instead, she wanted him beaten, because based on the mother's flawed logic, if you fall, you must be beaten. The rich boy's mother only speaks softly.
Please, dear Buzz, bring the breakfast.
Yes, ma'am.
The poor boy's mother's intention to buy bread in the backyard is so well known that the distant baker opens shop in anticipation of her arrival. The rich mother doesn't clean the house, she has employees everywhere. She doesn't even know how to wash her own butt because the toilet does it for her, releasing a thin jet of water right on the spot. The poor mother, from the day she's born to the day she dies, her job is to take care of the house. She does so much of the same thing. That's why the poor mother is always angry. As a bonus, she still has to raise the children, and the only job she gives them is to fill the bottles. But all the kids with the dry river all day, and they don't drink a glass of water and forget. The result? Take more spanking. The difference between the rich and the poor is not only in the mother, but also in the children. The rich kid has expensive and beautiful toys, plays very carefully so as not to break. And the poor child plays with dead katenga, putting firecrackers in the mouth, lighting it and making it explode. Think about the fun a rich kid when he falls breaks all over. If he takes a stumble, he already has to ingest a little leg and stay 3 months of rest, taking medicine and eating healthy food. On the other hand, the poor child, when he falls, activates the emergency siren function. The boy takes a breath and gives a scream that if death is coming to fetch him, it turns back. He can fall into a dry well, at most scrape his knee, and the next day he is running again. A rich kid has a proper and balanced diet. If a sweet has 1% more sugar, the boy already gets diabetes. If he catches a little cold, he's already bedridden and feverish. Now what about the poor child? A poor child eats clay sitting in the sewer and doesn't get sick. And when he does get sick, he goes out sneezing and coughing on the street to share the flu with the other little friends. It's a beautiful union. Rich kids are dumb. If you give 100 rays to a rich kid, he takes the money, puts it in his mouth, tears it up and discards it. Now give $100 to a poor child and they go to the store alone to purchase diapers and formula. He keeps 50 in his pocket to buy candy and impress girls later. Speaking of family, there's a stark contrast between rich and poor families, especially in terms of the relationship between mother and son. Wealthy families seldom gather except for funerals. It's rare to see them together otherwise, because they are there to receive their part of the inheritance. Poor families have a WhatsApp group solely to send good morning, afternoon, and night messages. Relatives frequently see each other. Your uncle is on the sidewalk at the corner, and your grandmother is visible through the window. To make their own food last longer, poor families often visit relatives to eat their food. The family size also matters. Wealthy families are too small, with a maximum of 5 members, able to fit inside a public restroom. Mother, father, son, grandfather, and grandmother make up a typical rich family, as wealthy people tend to have fewer children. So they don't have to have expenses and divide the inheritance later. Now the poor, everything fits in one house, man. There are so many children, cousins, aunts, grandchildren. In every state of Brazil, you can be sure that the poor will say they have a relative living there. When the rich family gathers, they are silent and quiet. When the process comes, the others have no evidence of what was said. They are cold and calculating. In contrast, the poor family's gathering is noisy, with laughter, fights, and chatter. Nobody cares about anything. They speak ill of each other to their faces, sharing their plans for everyone. They don't care. But what about when they decide to travel? The rich take a fancy plane. They go first class right away. The poor, on the other hand, take a clandestine van at 6 in the morning. The guy shoves people into the van, you know? Where 30 could fit, they make 50 fit. The rich travel to the beaches of Colorado or the rivers of Mesopotamia. they don't need to take money with them because they have an unlimited black card. The poor, on the other hand, travel to any river or beach. Pollution, sharks or piranhas don't matter. What matters is that it's nearby, so the fare is cheaper. They only bring enough money for the round trip, telling the kids to eat well before leaving as they won't buy food there. It's a 3-hour journey just to bathe and return home. The rich, when they get to the beach, go to the best restaurant by the sea. They eat such bad food, but it's expensive. The taste doesn't matter. What matters is the high price, to show that they are rich. The poor, on the other hand, buy a 1-liter Coca-Cola at the stall, just so they can have the right to stay in other people's stalls, and then they take a photo, trying to show off with the hashtag, "I'm at the beach." The party is for the rich, with wine, champagne, and live classical music. They are so wealthy, they could even get Beethoven to play. Meanwhile, the poor buy the worst, cheapest liquor and listen to drunken, incomprehensible singing. To make it worse, they crank up the volume until the speakers nearly burst, showing everyone they're happy and celebrating. The rich only invite rich, famous guests and celebrities. There's no fighting, just gossip and schemes behind the scenes. At the end, they say goodbye, claiming it was great while secretly criticizing everything. In contrast, the poor drink and invite neighbors, friends, and anyone passing by. After a few drinks, a fight and confusion break out, followed by laughter. They say goodbye, eagerly anticipating the next one, expressing happiness. And when the rich fall ill, the doctor personally goes to the patient's home. When the poor get sick, they must drag themselves to the hospital, often dying before the ambulance arrives. In the waiting room of the wealthy hospital, there's air conditioning, 4K television, a game room for kids, and a woman serving tea, coffee, or any beverage you desire. The waiting room of the poor's hospital is a reflection of hell itself. The service is so bad that there isn't even water to drink. There might be water, but you need to buy cups at the market. The chairs are all occupied, and the only television channel available is a bad one, you know? Children crying, people dying and lying on the floor. Anyone who enters with the virus leaves with 10 more. If the rich have 1 month left, doctors comfort them and seek a cure. But if the poor have 1 month, the doctor says,
You'll die in a month. Next.
The wealthy man's costly medicines are tested by the doctor on himself to prove their safety to the rich patient. If the medicine still harms the wealthy man, he sues the hospital and grows even wealthier. The underfunded hospital lacks medicine. Patients must buy it from the pharmacy using the doctor's illegible prescription. The pharmacist's prescription error leads to the man's death, and the family has no right to sue. The judge just tells them to be more careful next time. And finally, we have the difference between rich street and poor street. Rich street has rich and quiet neighbors. It's as if they're dead. Houses are far apart because of the size of the lots. The street is nearly deserted, with only a few people out walking. Poor street is chaotic, with neighbors arguing and children playing in the road. Old ladies sitting on the sidewalk to observe other people's lives. On rich street, if a police car stops at a house, no one comes out. Fearing police discovery of their schemes, they are afraid of reporters and the press. On the poor street, if anything happens like a police car stopping, everyone comes out. And the poor are always hoping that someone gets shot on their own sidewalk, just so they can appear in the newspaper report, send a kiss to the camera, and post on social media hashtag, "I appeared on television." And that was today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Are you rich or are you poor? Leave a comment to share your thoughts. Share this video with your friends, rich or poor. Like the video if you agreed with anything. I hope you weren't offended. Watch these 2 videos and subscribe so you don't miss new content. Thanks. See you next time. Bye.